Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. I am Marnese Jackson, and I am the Executive Director of the Midwest Building Decarbonization Coalition. And today we're going to resume our conversations with the Midwest BDC members and board members. We're doing this so you can get an understanding on their background, an understanding of how they became the Midwest BDC board member, and just to tell you all how to get involved with Midwest BDC and the importance of having a board position. And so, about the Midwest BDC, our mission is to decarbonize the Midwestern building sector by 2050. And our focus states are Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and Ohio. And we're going to get into why Midwest BDC was founded in the first place. And that's because we spend 90% of our time indoors, and unfortunately, our indoor air quality is contributing to the harmful emissions that are going into the air, which is causing, of course, climate change, but then also it's causing a high energy burden on communities of color, low income communities, impacted communities who may not be able to bounce back from these climate disasters. But then also those who are impacted by environmental racism. And so today, joining me today is Sheila Curry-Campbell, and Sheila has been involved with Midwest BDC for a very long time. Actually, she was the first person I reached out to when I came on to the position of the Equity and Engagement Director. And she is the Executive Director for Pilgrim Progress Community Development Corporation, and she is a native of Fort Wayne, Indiana, and is very active in her community. Served as the first district county councilwoman, vice chair of the Allen County Democratic Party, and formerly was the president of the local NAACP chapter. And actually, that's where I met Sheila, at the NAACP, when I was a environmental climate justice organizer in the Midwestern states. And she has been a member of the Pilgrim Baptist Church for 50 years. Once again, Black don't crack, so 50 years where? And where she has been deeply involved in our Healing Kitchen, the PBC Victory Garden, PBC Summer Feeding Program, Leadership Team, Scholarship Committee, Library Committee, Vacation Bible School Committee, and Youth Advisors, Students Against Violence Everywhere. And she is also very instrumental in the PBC Green Team. So, Sheila, thank you so much for being here today. And just a little bit about you. How did you get involved with Midwest BDC? Why did you come on to be a Midwest BDCer?
Well, I think because you asked. We were working in the same space, actually, like you stated earlier, with the NAACP. And
Mm-hmm.
I know we just recently had Jackie Patterson, and so we all came up underneath that umbrella. So environmental issues really concerned me. All of my siblings died young, and a lot of it was kind of attached to our environment. So I became passionate in that sense and doing some research. And so, yeah, this is a great space to be in.
Thank you so much, Sheila. And it sounds like when Marnese asks, you just gotta come along, huh? And I appreciate that because Sheila has really been very instrumental in doing the work. Like Sheila brings people to the party. So for those who don't know about coalition building, we're here to make sure that we solve a issue, whatever issue it may be, and we have a time frame. And unfortunately, with indoor air quality, since we spend majority of our times indoors because we're in the Midwestern states, this is going to be a long haul for us to eliminate this indoors. So, why did you want to be on the board of directors for Midwest BDC?
Well, like you stated, I've been in the room from the beginning, and I thought it was a great opportunity, especially when we start talking about getting our own 501c3.
Hmm.
So being on that team is a privilege. I'm honored that my peers elected me to serve,
Hmm.
and my board selected me as the vice chair. So thank
Thank you, Sheila, and we appreciate you serving because being on the board of directors, a lot of people may not know what boards do, how they contribute to an organization. So, could you elaborate on, like, really, why should people join boards of directors? Why is it important to get involved, right?
Well, I always say you if you don't have a seat at the table, you're usually on the menu.
Hmm.
And so being at the table and understanding the process and seeing it through has it's just been an honor. Um, I can remember when we first started and maybe had 30 people. So now we're up to 56 people. And so 2019 was the beginning. And some of these folks have rode with me all the way to the bitter end, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the relationships, the collaboration. Being a part of the board gives you opportunity to share the good news with those folks, to let them know about the progress, and you do a good job of reporting that out, my case. So thank you.
Hmm. Thank you, Sheila. So, what has been like your favorite part of working with Midwest BDC? As we have been a new nonprofit with a physical sponsor who got us here, which is Fresh Energy. So, since the beginning, what has been your favorite part? Because starting a nonprofit is not easy, and it takes, especially a regional entity that's focused on uh, a topic that can be very daunting and very technical. But hey, we're doing it. So, you know, why? Like, what's your favorite part?
I think my favorite part is giving out the grants.
Okay.
I mean, to be able to give folks that've been doing the work, a few dollars, to make a change in their community is rewarding. Like I say, a lot of these folks, they've been in the game for years and never received anything for their work. And so I think that's probably the best part. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I do think, we have to compensate people for their time. And, a lot of, you know, environmental and climate justice organizations do not get access to a lot of this funding. Luckily, there has been a downpour of federal funding, and people are really seeing that equity is definitely very important. However, sometimes those funds are not accessible, and for those who are doing applications to get federal funds, it's not really the easiest thing to conquer. And so here at Midwest BDC, we have been fortunate to re-grant out to our organizations just to get out there and do the work, right? And they need money to do the work. We want to show people what clean energy looks like in their community. So we have been fortunate to re-grant out to members and just to show up. And so, what do you think people can do to get involved on boards of organizations that they care about? What are some basic things that they can do?
Well, I think just kind of joining organizations and signing up to be on the executive board. You don't always have to walk into the room as the chair or the co-chair or secretary or treasurer, but just going into the room and being a listening ear. All boards operate different. Um, we know that coming from the NAACP, they work totally different. Some of us belong to different organizations, and so our board, being that we're grassroots, bottom up organizing, is different. And so bringing folks side by side with us to understand the process of each of the states, because each of the states operate different. There's different paperwork that needs to be submitted for the 501c3 operating in different capacities. And so just taking folks through the process and being able to educate folks just on Robert's Rule of Order, period. I mean, sometimes you have to be able to share the knowledge. The more I share with you, the easier my job becomes. And so, Midwest BDC is the work in progress, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Okay, Sheila. Um, hey, Sheila, sit back because no, sit back because we having a hard time hearing you. And so
I'm
I
sorry.
think I think when you lead in, it's like coming. off a little bit muffled. Okay, so you good?
I'm good. I
Okay,
am good.
okay, okay. You're not nervous, are you?
I might be a little nervous.
You're not. I'm like, wait a minute. Sheila seem a little bit.
Listen, you know me.
Okay.
I'm usually fighting. So me being
Mhm.
a little bit more humble and passionate today on your podcast is probably not my norm. I'm usually fighting. I mean, I've been fighting all week, advocate. Doing this work is really hard. And, you spoke a little bit about it. Getting your piece of the pie. That is one of the things that we've been advocating for, and it's a lot of the work that I'm doing here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, making sure that the funding that comes into this space go to the folks that it was intended for, and it's a fight.
Yeah. So yeah, and Sheila's not shy, and I appreciate the humility because yeah, I get like that too. You know, when I have to speak, I kind of go in a little bit, but I need to come out. So Sheila, thank you so much for your advocacy and your fiery spirit. So, what do you wish people knew about energy and climate justice? Doing this work for a very long time, Sheila, what has been missing? Like why people are missing the mark on energy and climate justice.
I think a lot of it is education.
Hmm.
Reach one, teach one. I mean, it's an old term. I mean, I have an old spirit, but um, I think when you make people understand that this affects them,
Hmm.
then they become a little bit more of a listening ear.
Okay.
To get people to become involved, it's a process, baby steps.
Hmm.
And so the more you know, and that's kind of where we at. We have some folks here in Indiana that's been part of our coalition from 2020. So almost 4 years in
Hmm.
doing this type of work where they can actually say they have expertise in being able to share this knowledge. And so it's important for us to find people that look like me, and pour everything you have into them. Hopefully, they'll share that news with other folks. We work a lot with congregations. We found that the church secretary is our key to the pastor. And
Hmm.
so we use that to our advantage, doing grassroots organizing, getting folks a place at the table. I'm one of those folks, I give everybody a title.
Sheila, with doing energy and climate justice work, and you do have to educate people because they are definitely interdependent. We have climate issues because the energy that we're using, where it's coming from. Um, but if sitting on the board of directors and having a special skill set for those who are coming into the organization to talk about environmental energy and climate justice, how would you suggest they bring people along? Because that's what coalition building is all about. Like we can't just keep all the stuff to ourselves, right? We have to get the information out to people. So, what do you think is some best ways or some best practices?
Well, we have term limits on our board. And so my term ends in December, so there will be a space for Indiana. And so I know Marnese is holding her head over there, but
I am. I am.
I think it's important to create space
Mhm.
for growth. I think initially we wanted to make sure that the people at the table were the people that understood the growth and where we came from and where we wanted to go. And
Mhm.
so a lot of that responsibility, now that we are a 501c3, now that we have an executive director, now that we have hired staff, a lot of those responsibilities now transfer over to that body. And so our job is to raise money.
Mhm.
Our job is to make sure that programs continue.
Mhm.
Our job is to be good stewards of the money. And so our task is to empower you, Marnese. And I put all of my chips on Marnese Jackson. And so as I close out my 2 year term, I know you'll probably edit this, but
No, we're
yeah.
live right now. Everybody's
Oh,
seeing
we're
this,
live.
Sheila.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
this is like, hey, look, we're definitely podcasting right now. We're definitely live, Sheila. And
Okay.
Sheila, I appreciate this, okay, because the encouragement. Sometimes I need reassurance too. So coming from a black woman who's been in the movement, know the ropes. Um, I have learned different ways of bringing people in by way of you, Sheila. Sheila, you know how to bring some people in. So I do think all people, if you're doing coalition building, you're doing organizing, you should. Sheila, we got to have you actually do a one-on-one on bringing people to the movement, because people, Sheila will bring people to the movement. So definitely going to miss your presence on the board because you have to value people while they're in positions. And I was telling like the other board members, like, because they didn't know, they were new, that essentially you all are my boss. So it's like it has definitely been a pleasure to work with you, Sheila, and just learn the ropes. And Sheila keeps it real. She's like Auntie Sheila, like, hey, Marnese, do this, like, get good feedback. So definitely appreciate that. And with the new board members, I do think, for because I hold a couple board positions, I think coming on, you should all board of directors should have some type of training to get
Mhm.
acclimated, especially for the new organizations. And don't put your friends on your board, especially for those who are higher, starting their own organization. That's just my personal feedback. Sometimes your friends, it just can be the worst, right? Um, and
Right.
they
I'm not gonna. Well, I'm not
you
gonna
can
talk
say,
about the church people because I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm always making
oh my
jokes
gosh.
about the church people. But I'm not gonna go there right now. But I do think it's very important when you're organizing, and which I've helped several people in our coalition get their 501c3.
Mhm.
And so those are success. Those are hurdles that we can count as a success here in Fort Wayne and here in the Midwest. But it's important when you're talking about building a board, what value do they bring to you? I mean, is this a person that just want to be on your board for name status only? Or is this a person that that is working and bringing value? So, I tell folks all the time, you need someone, you need a secretary. So you need somebody that can handle that. A treasurer, maybe an accountant, a bookkeeping, someone that that knows how to add and subtract. And then you always want to have those gurus. I mean, these young people with social media, like I say, I just downloaded this app today. I've never seen this stuff before. But I'm one of those people. I'm in that space where I look for people that have the skill set that will bring value to me, value to the work that I do. So when you're building those boards, make sure that people um, bring something to the table other than a title. And
I totally agree with that because, essentially you are, well, no matter what the cause is, it's like you're doing important work, especially for social change. And we don't like across the board. We don't have people just to be need to be sitting around just for namesake or notoriety. We don't have time for that.
no,
Especially with all the intersecting issues that we have been plagued with in our society. So it's honestly time for us all to get to work in the best way we know how and bring our skill sets. Those what boards are for. Like you have to be an added value. And Sheila, can you tell us like what's the importance of having like um, a great relationship with board staff? Like what does that look like? Because we are definitely NAACPers, and I felt like a lot of board members were just so far reach. Not Kathy Eglin because she was chairing the ECJ committee. She is so 100, and she is out there, right? She's actually doing the work in Mississippi,
yes,
right? But it's like how does that dynamic should work, in your type of way, not in a hierarchy, because
hmm
we don't want to perpetuate the oppressions that we already are experiencing. So what does that look like to you, Sheila? What can you offer us?
Well, what I can offer you is know your role. Um, definitely know your bylaws. And I tell anyone, you want to study and know your bylaws from the beginning to the end, because at the end of the day, your bylaws is what's going to save you.
Mhm,
And so we know as we've gone through this process, there's some things that we missed.
mhm.
And so, being a grassroots organization, we have opportunity to go back and fix those things.
Yeah.
Some organizations, they have times, you can only change in the bylaws once a year at the annual meeting, and you have to have 2/3 of the vote. So we don't have that type of vibrant verbiage in our bylaws. But when you're starting a 501c3 and you want to play a leadership role, you want to make sure you know the bylaws, because at the end of the day, whoever put the organization, me and you and all the rest of us that was part of this grassroots organizing back from 2019, we were being very mindful about how we wanted this organization to um, um, to expand, and so I think we did a good job of that, a good job of the messaging, the marketing, and like I say, now we've empowered you as our executive director. Uh oh, did I lose you, Marnese? Uh oh, are you still there, or is it me? Mm, okay, I don't know if we lost Marnese.
I
Hey,
think we
Maggie.
might have surprise guest here. I'm coming in from the background where I was running some of the tech stuff, but oh, and there I think we got Marnese back. Marnese, I think we lost you for a second.
Oh, okay, okay,
I'm
okay.
gonna stop
But,
talking.
but
This
we're
Hey,
is
you
this
sound
is
good
a
now though.
sensitive subject.
no. So Sheila, you got to run that back. Okay, we had technical difficulties, and thank you, Maggie, for bringing us back. You got to run all that back because, yep, yep, yes, you do. 'Cause that, yeah, you was dropping some jewels. Um,
The viewers at home got it. Don't worry about it.
oh, they got it. Oh, they got it. Okay, they did. I just didn't get it. Okay, so by the way, I'm at this conference, this Eagle conference, and so it's probably the internet where I'm at. But hey, we're podcasting. Gotta love the internet. So I'll listen to the recording. But Sheila, in the meantime, between time while we're trying to, save the world, save the planet, what are you actually working on in your neck of the woods?
Wow, I'm working on a lot of stuff. Organizing, as always. This is a presidential year, so
Ugh,
get out the vote. If you're not registered to vote, you still have time. And so a lot of the work that we're doing is it's going to have a lot to do with who's our next president. And so I have a lot of things in the pipeline in reference to our environmental justice. I think we shared with the coalition that Indiana was one of the recipients of the Solar for All.
mhm.
And so those are two opportunities that Midwest BDC, thank you for your letter of support. And then we have another opportunity here in the Midwest with the Community Change Grant, which is a product of the EPA, to go into communities. I'm with Pilgrim Baptist Church. Pilgrim Progress is our CDC. And so we're located in East Central neighborhood. Our zip code is 46803. And we're one of the most underserved, disinvested zip codes in the state of Indiana. And so we're trying to take advantage, bringing workforce development to this space and economic development. Pilgrim's been here for 105 years, and I'm claiming it all, girl. I'm claiming it all. So that's what we're doing. Work here in the East Central. We'll start our summer program in June and July. And so we give young folks green jobs, and we'll be introducing them to energy audits, going door to door, doing some advocacy work, making sure folks know about the rebates. So we have a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do here, and we appreciate Midwest BDC and being a member. And supporting us on this community change grant. Amen.
Hey man, we gonna get that.
We're going to get that money, man. We're going to get
Yeah.
that money.
And shout out to the grants team for working, and Midwest BDC team for getting that going. So Sheila, you definitely brought up the solar for all, and kudos to those who got the solar for all. Everybody, make sure that we look at this at a holistic view. Yes, solar is great and sexy. However, you got to make sure that you get your house weatherized. Get an energy audit on your home, because it's not sexy if your roof is caving in and you don't have your house is not properly insulated. So
Yeah.
you got to make
And
sure.
we got to make sure, folks. I know everybody's got the phone calls. We can get you solar. You only pay $100 a month or something ridiculous they're saying. But what they're trying to do is get these folks to lease and get them caught up in a 25, 30-year lease. Just hold on, and I'm trying to explain to the people, we got some lunch money coming into Fort Wayne, into Allen County, into the disadvantaged community. So don't drink the Kool-Aid, not right now. We got Mountain Dew.
Okay, so drink not the Kool-Aid. If for those who know what that means, go just do Google on what that means. It happened in the 70s. Okay, but don't drink the Kool-Aid. But make sure that you are doing your research on reputable solar companies. So make sure you do your research, because everybody out here do play games. Not everybody, but people do play games out here.
And they usually target us.
Yes.
And now that they know, I mean, there's a group, like I say, I've been fighting before I came on this call. So I ain't gonna talk about them right
So
now.
Sheila, outside of fighting, what do you enjoy doing outside of saving the world, fighting? Because we got to start fighting all of our life. What do you enjoy doing outside of fighting? You can't list none of the stuff that you do at church. I know you enjoy. We know you enjoy going to church. We know that, Sheila.
I'm
What
at the
else
church
do you?
house.
I know.
That's where I'm housed at the church.
I know you. What else? What else do you like doing, Sheila, outside of that?
I love comedy. I really think I'm funny, Marnese. It's on my bucket list. I think I'm a stand-up comedian, and there's only about 2 people that really think I'm funny, but I think I'm funny.
No, we're over here rolling over here in the back.
I think I'm funny.
Sheila, who's your favorite comedian?
Mom's Mabley. You folks probably don't know her,
Mm-hmm.
but Mom's Mabley, yeah, and the monkey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Google that, somebody.
I'm definitely gonna Google it. I believe I heard of her. She during like the 1920s, 30s. I feel like I heard. See, I was
Very good.
okay.
One of her albums. I'm hoping that one day it will be worth some money, but I have one of her albums.
I knew I saw the name at this regeneration exhibit in Detroit at the DIA, and I was like, I know I heard that name before. So yes, thank you, Sheila, for saying. And you said somebody old school, so I'm gonna go look it up because I like old school. I value. So Sheila, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining and being willing to continue this whole podcast series I got going on with the board of directors. We appreciate all the hard work that you're doing. I'll see you at the meeting on Monday, bright and early. It's not early, but yes, the meeting is gonna be awesome. And I appreciate you. Now, I'll see. Are you going to get in the zero next week?
Listen. Okay. To all of my folks be having all of these workshops and conferences and stuff, I love to go to this stuff. Why? Because I get educated.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like to go. Building relationships. But y'all got to give us some money. I need a hotel. I need a core. I need air travel, because we don't have it like that over here. So if someone can hear me, I can still get last minute travel. But it's on my calendar. It's on my calendar, Marty.
You know what? I'll reach out to the organizers to see if they can pull something through, because I know I sent that email. But Sheila, so let me do that before I go and get down today. But
yeah, I have it on my calendar. I have getting to zero. See that purple?
Oh my gosh.
That's my calendar, people.
Well, hopefully I'll see you next week, and I'll try to work the Marnese magic to get you in there. So I do think, yeah, let me call you after this. I got one more call, but then let me. All right. But Sheila, thank you so much for coming on to the Midwest BDC conversations with the board directors. It was a joy having you today, but we do want to tell you all about our upcoming events. Next week, I believe, or the week after, we do have our Public Utility Commissions 101. This is going to be an awesome training from Tanya Pulaski. She also sits on the Climate Council for Solutions with me here in Michigan, but she's a founder of Elevated Engagement. She also played a role in our governance working group, aka now our membership working group, getting that started. So we're gonna welcome Tanya back. And thanks so much for being an advocate for energy justice and climate justice. Um, and we do have some other coming events coming up. Please follow us on midwestbdc.org, where you can tune in to our equity summit. It's going to be virtual in July 31st and August the 1st. So we do have a full packed agenda for that. And it's free. Our stuff is free. Or And then don't forget to join our email list to stay up to date on MidwestDecarb.org and all of our stuff that we got going on. So thanks so much, Sheila, for tuning in today. I'll see you in the next. Oh, Sheila, you got an announcement? You got something going on? What's going on, Sheila?
You know, the church always got church announcements.
Okay.
But here in Fort Wayne, we meet monthly, the first Friday of the month, from 10 to 12. And so if you're in the Fort Wayne area, we have folks that come from Indianapolis that comes to our monthly meeting. So, but yeah, we invite you. We do provide lunch, and we get a lot of work done. One of the topics we'll be talking about is those public comments for rebates. And so we want to make sure that we prepare people, give them the tools they need to be successful, share with them how um, to write an email to make a response. So we have a couple of templates for that. But yeah, the public comments on the rebates, people, we got to be at the table. They're going to make these decisions without us, and it's going to affect the people that look like me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Sheila. And you all, thanks for tuning in to the Midwest BDC podcast with our board members. Have a wonderful Friday and have a wonderful weekend. All right. Bye bye.
Good job.